Hello and welcome to We Women Want. This is our weekly show where we explore issues related to women. These can be anything from the workplace, from health issues to domestic violence to fashion tips, fitness tips. And of course, this week we're taking a look at mental stress. Now, mental stress I know is not something that is just the domain of women, but there are issues that women do deal with perhaps more than men. Though in today's world everything is equal, so we're going to try and take a look at the mental, and how these issues have changed over the years. Also, now you don't just have relationship issues, you also have body shaming, you have issues of how you look, the whole world of trauma that our generations are dealing with, and what are the answers that we can help them with. So joining me on the show is a panel of experts. I have Dr. Neera Jain. She's a counselor on mental health and she does a lot of work with NGOs. I have Dr. Shambhavi Jain. She's a consultant psychiatrist and she has her own clinic called the Mental Health. And Shrishti Srivastav, she is the founder of InfiHeal. That's an AI therapist and mental health app. And she also has a mental health assistant, Hilo. So welcome, Hilo, on the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you all here. But first, let's just look at the traditional ways, Dr. Neera. In terms of you've been counseling people over the years, have the issues changed as I've spoken about? Are there also new age stresses that people are coming to you with?
See, the issues are basically the same, but they have more issues have been added because of the changing socio-economic stature, the changing environment. Both husband and wife are working, nuclear families, and too much of inflation of too much of information sharing. Everybody likes to conform to a certain standard. Like, I want to look good, I want to be the best, I want to be perfectionist, I want to be good at my job, I want to be a good wife, mother. So the expectation from one's own self, that when you're not able to meet, that adds a lot of pressure. And the societal pressure was always there on women.
Yeah.
Because whether you work or you do not work, the home responsibility basically lies with you.
The woman
you are the
family.
You are the caregiver, and you have to look after the in-laws, your husband, your children, and moreover to look after yourself, which we generally tend to neglect. So that way, these things have given a lot of rise to emotional trauma, stresses, and in somewhere there the mental health also gets affected. Because when there's so many things going on, sometimes you're not able to cope up.
Right.
You start doubting yourself, because you're not able to cope up, there's something wrong with you. And then the family is constantly telling you, you're not good at it. So you sort of start having a low self-esteem, start self-doubting. So these things, and then with the nuclear family, you don't have anybody to share with. So there's no outlet as such.
There's no one to share with, no one grown up to talk to, which is also one background of the breakdown of nuclear family. What are the issues that you are dealing with, and also the age group? Are more younger people coming up and seeking counseling now?
Definitely. I feel that post-COVID there has been a really huge change in the number of people who are seeking help in general, plus more awareness about mental health. So even the younger generation is more open about sharing things, about seeking help from a professional. Now, like ma'am said, that it is also the dynamics between the families which has changed, but it's also because of the exposure to so many things which were not there previously, that the kind of stressors which the younger people are facing now are very, very different from what it was back then. So it's good that a lot of younger people are coming and sharing their problems or seeking help, but the problems are definitely increasing in terms of relationships and even otherwise when it comes to mental health. Otherwise, money, depression, anxiety, because of these stressors coming up, because of certain aspects of pressurizing oneself to be a certain way, to meet expectations of themselves or the families or the society in general.
And the expectations are more because of the digital age, Instagram and what you put up, social pressure, peer pressure. And here we have someone from the digital age. First of all, how do you replace the human factor?
You don't. You possibly can't.
Okay.
We just augment human capacity. So a lot of people actually hesitate to go to therapists, and they would much rather Google their problem or now use ChatGPT. So what we have done is we are leveraging technology like ChatGPT, but actually adding therapeutic data sets. and making it much safer to use for the general population. And to also answer the question that everybody answered here, I would say that yes, relationship issues have taken more prominence. We also see new age relationship issues, like situationship and things around ghosting and things like that, which perhaps we didn't encounter that much earlier.
Earlier, very true.
We also are encountering like roommate issues because people are not living with their families anymore. So you would not assume that somebody would have a problem with a roommate and it'll be such a big deal. But apparently not. People are, considerably distressed because of the dynamics, in their flats and things like that. So those are actually also coming up. And then, as you said, the social media pressure, the Instagram, the perfectionism, the body dysmorphia, all of that actually adds up. So you do have like a new type of problems, but as everybody just said, that the core issues are like the same. Right?
Underconfidence. But
Yeah,
is
low
it
self-esteem.
also girls and boys same?
It's so, for example, in women, the body image issues will be around, fairness and around weight. In men, it'll be about not having muscles or height. So I think the form changes slightly, and also the focus. So in case of men, there's more focus on their income, right? And less on how they look, right? Though social media has changed that a little bit, but still we find it kind of,
Everybody wants to
Yeah.
have 6 abs.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's not feasible. It's not even probably healthy, right?
Yeah.
To have it for sustained periods of times. Yet we see that. So
Yeah.
And also another thing that is happening is because there's so many Insta solutions, which can also affect your mental health, in terms of 6-pack abs ke liye, then they will say protein powder ye lo, which will, which can be a depressant and.
See, very interesting thing that Shashri has brought up was situationships.
हाँ बताओ.
Now, see, this is a very new term. Never heard of. You could heard of relationship or a courtship. Now, situationship is one thing, then courtship is there, living in is there, and that sharing
Roommates.
rooms.
there's benching also.
Benching also. What is benching?
So it's like people have multiple people that they go to at different points of times. So it's like a bench, like people, occupy the bench in that case.
So
it's
it's
different. Like we can't
situationship.
relate to it.
One
Yeah,
takes
yeah.
a back seat for some time
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
other
Yeah,
is
that
front
is,
and then
yeah.
So,
That's what it means.
That's what it means. That. So this, it says that youngsters are becoming more open to experimentation. Things are there. They don't want anything to be stable or there and then, to be permanent. They want to
Oh,
experience.
they are scared of permanence.
They are scared of permanence. They are scared of the responsibility that it comes with it. So they are sort of like, say, the benching. They are just hopping from one stage to another, then to another. But then every stage brings its own set of problems.
No, but this benching and the lack of permanence, does it have a mental, because part of the thing of permanence and commitment is it grounds you. So is that a problem that you
Yeah,
see?
definitely. I mean, that stability which you seek when you're seeking a relationship is not there in the kind of relationships which are happening now. And I wouldn't blame it on the generation or the people. I think it's the environment which probably, unfortunately, the technology has built, that everything is so instant. You want something, you get happiness, you're not happy tomorrow, you can change it. That option or the mindset that we have options and we can skip from one place to the other is something which is coming into relationships as well now.
But again, I'm pretty fascinated by this lack of permanence. What do you tell them?
So it's actually there are a lot of causes behind it, right? I think this generation, the Gen X, the Gen Z and the millennials, they were raised in households where both parents were at times working in the larger cities, right? So they relied a lot on like friends, and it was a different system altogether. So you really can't blame them for the choices
Because
that
they have seen a different environment. They have grown
very
up in a different
environment.
environment that maybe you and me have had a different.
Exactly. So it's a completely different environment, and they're coping with it. And a
They
lot
coped
of
when they were young also.
Yeah,
when both the parents
exactly.
were working, they had nobody to turn to. So they coped then.
Exactly.
And now they're coping with their own, things.
They are definitely coping in their own way, and it can seem maladaptive in certain ways, but I think at its core, it's just trying to find comfort, And the concept of permanence, actually, it's studied a lot. There's a term called object permanence, right, in psychology, which I think we have a lot of people here who can actually elaborate upon it. But yeah, like I think over time, we also see a rise in neurodivergence, for instance, and all of these things actually have a role in actually making us more avoidant in a way. Even technology actually tends to make you more avoidant. You rely more on social media validation over actual humans around you.
Yeah.
So all of these factors.
See, the
yeah.
contact with the human as it is decreasing because of technology and like your
Because of
social
technology.
media and validation from your friends and social media, so many likes and all. Then it's a vicious circle. And then in turn, it comes to your body shaming. You want to conform to a little, to a certain standard. Then expectations from yourself. So it's the same circle, but you are going deep and deep into it because of the
No, but it's
exposure
not the
there.
same circle. You want affirmation from strangers. Early on, the circle was limited to your home and people you met, physical circle. Now it's, and any anonymous person can take your mood down with a thumbs down.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think it's both ways. I think any anonymous person can bring your mood down,
down
via,
and make it up.
make it up as well in your situation where the physical space, there are lesser number of people, there are counted number of people. When you're going into social media, you will have maybe random people as well on your profile, and them liking it'll give you another kind of boost, which you might not get when somebody say that your friend or your cousin or XYZ, whoever you've known for a while, that you might think, they know me, they like me, so they are giving me a
Or
thumbs
they're
up.
being polite.
Or they're
you know,
being
they
They're
polite.
being polite,
Yeah.
yeah. So the kind of dopamine hit or the kind of excitement or the validation which they get from a stranger or say somebody who's got an eminent position in social media, it gives a different kind of feeling to them, and that's how
gives a
it
different
gets
high, actually.
high, yeah.
So, what is the advice that you give somebody who's on a low because of a social media thumbs down?
It's actually one of the hardest addictions to fix because it's just so prevalent, right? And you just, mindlessly just end up scrolling, right? Even when you don't want to, right? I think tools actually help. One thing which I tried doing was there's a tool which makes everything black and white. So you're like just forced not to scroll, and you just don't like seeing a black and white screen anymore, right? So those are like obviously more physical interventions. But at its core, any addiction or any kind of behavior that's repetitive and compulsive in nature actually has its root in you trying to avoid something in your life. So maybe you're dissatisfied with other things, and this seems to be like an outlet. So addressing the root cause obviously is a better route than just fixing like the symptom of it, right?
So then it becomes bring us back to the our basics,
Which is?
which is to find the root cause. What you all see are manifestation of
Correct.
something.
Good
Maybe
point.
some incident in the school or college or somebody in the family, which now your issues are manifestation of that. Maybe the signs are that, but that's not the root cause
Good
why you're
point.
angry or you're
That's a good point.
Yeah. So then you say ki whatever technology and all, but the conventional methods also basically help you because the root problem, unless you address the root problem,
So, manifestation may be in this
Yeah.
new age thing, but the cause is the Purana
cause
basic.
could be somewhere. Yeah.
So, what advice do you give?
I think, yeah, technology will be beaten by technology. So like she said that,
Nice one, huh?
you have to make your screens black and white, or you have these apps where you can put a timer to, close the app, or you can't access the app after a certain time. Trying to be in the physical space more, having more actual relationships is important rather than having, electronic relationships.
That is-
But how many
Okay.
of them will actually conform to it and listen to it?
So they're coming for health and they're obviously looking for solutions. Otherwise, I'll just take a break and come back and keep the conversation going. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to We Women Want. We're here discussing a topical issue in today's age, which is mental health. Shrishti, COVID probably, as she said, brought out the issue that mental health can be dealt with. But now we are seeing more and more, I think more than the older generation, is the younger kids who are having these issues. And it's MySpace. Now, what is MySpace and, why is it so important?
So I think that's their default, Like I said, these kids were grown in a time where both parents were working. It was a nuclear family. So they spent a lot more time alone, right? So that's what they think as the default or as the normal. So it's natural for them to actually seek that in several ways. So their need for like space is much more than, millennials
family
or
setup.
Yeah.
And now we have the alpha gen. So what do they want?
Yeah, I don't know. We also have Gen Beta coming in. We have
This
no clue what
alpha's
the...
now gone. Beta's coming.
Now we have Beta. Very recently we have Beta now.
Oh Lord. I think as someone says, every 7 years there's a new generation coming in. Early on the generations used to take a lot of time.
I know, I
At
know.
least 20 years. But now of course there is a. So
See, like you working, what is MySpace?
Huh.
It's also like she said, nuclear family. Now everybody has a 1 or 2 child. Number of children are also not there. And from the very beginning, the parents have also encouraged to say, they have a separate bedroom. It's your time. You stay. Do not disturb my child. He's busy. He's like we also started saying my time. We are saying I need my space.
Yeah.
So we have started also indirectly putting the children also, they also need their space.
Correct.
Because we started talking about space. So this also could be one of the reasons. They say when they grow up in that, then they say my space, my time, mera ye time hai, mujhe ye karna hai.
Yeah.
I don't want any intrusion. Sometimes the guests come, then they say, okay, they've intruded in my space. I keep them away. I don't want to interact with them. So
yeah, which in our time you had to, you cannot say that I will not come and.
you had to come up. Now, nahi manya to okay, he's not, it's his time, it's his TV time or his me time. So let's,
It's
leave him
digital
there.
time.
I think the
Digital.
parenting style
Style
has also
also
shifted.
changed.
And that is also bringing about, like ma'am said, that a lot of changes in the children's upbringing. So their concepts around space, relationships, etc. is also slightly changing because of that, is what I feel.
Because now our painting style is more of Google.
It's more liberal than authoritarian. Earlier it was
Liberal
more
is the word.
authoritarian.
Yes. Authoritarian.
The ideal is authoritative, where it's a blend of both. Right? You have to be slightly strict also, and you have to be liberal also. But earlier it was very, very authoritarian.
yeah.
Now it's more on the liberal side. Yeah.
I have another issue just from parenting is the relationships issues, and that's why I wanted to ask you. We have abuse, which is doesn't have to be physical abuse. It can be verbal. It can be gaslighting. What do you see a lot of that?
Yes, definitely. And sometimes people don't even realize when they are undergoing that. They feel, so what we say is red flags. People don't understand that, okay, this person is being authoritative rather than being protective or something. They see it as, oh, my fiance or my partner or whoever is being overprotective, and they see it as caring, but actually it is
With more
something which is
possessiveness,
harmful. Yeah.
So this is something because the old style was a patriarchal society where the men did get away with saying all kinds of things. But today's generation will say red flags.
The red flags, are there. But like she said, that we sometimes think he's been caring. But it's not caring. Maybe now you feel caring, but then he is restricting you. It's an invisible thing. You don't see it coming, but it is their controlling nature. They're trying to control, or maybe, control over your actions and how you're going to perform. Or they want them to do things in their specific ways.
Which comes to boundaries.
Boundaries.
So that is a word that you must be very familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, it's been thrown around fairly often, and I think for a good reason. But like in the Indian household, in the conventional Indian household, can you really hold boundaries with your parents? Can you say that boundary chahiye, like it probably won't work
You
out.
cannot do it with the parents, but parents will do it with you.
Should do it with you.
Or the husbands will do with the wives or the children.
So yeah, it happens in that context, but in parental context, we actually struggle to hold it, and that's actually lack of boundaries is actually a huge problem. That, and a lot of mental health issues can be attributed to that. So we can all learn to build better boundaries.
So like you say, excess of everything is bad. You need boundaries, but not too much of controlling. You need certain sort of a structure or certain discipline in the family, but over is bad. Like, I always tell people, they say we treat our children as friends. So I said no. If everybody friends become, then who will do the parenting?
Correct.
You are friend, but you are a parent. You have to do their parenting. So you cannot say you take pride, yaar main to friend hu, yaar tu pee le. No, you are a parent. You have to do the parenting.
Correct.
So this new concept is also, is
part of the thing, yeah. But parents as friends, yes. But I just want to go back to husband-wife and a couple's relationship in that sense. The guy, it works both ways. It's not this thing. And so the red flags that you tell, explain some more of the red flags to look.
I mean, one is being overprotective. It comes out as being overprotective. A lot of people, in their way of communication, it can be very, very difficult. One, gap of communication, there's lack of communication because both the partners are just on their phones or they have their own lives. Fine, which is also important, but again, in moderation, not in extreme that you're doing your own thing, then there's no relationship basically. A lot of people also come with the fact that the communication is there, but it's not honest communication. It's not boundary bound communication. So you can say anything and then you come back and say, I'm sorry I said that. So you cannot take certain words back, you cannot take certain statements back. So there has to be a certain amount of boundary, there has to be certain amount of honesty
And
for
respect.
people, respect.
And
For
the two-way communication.
Exactly. A two-way communication is very, very important, that there is active listening and there's passive listening. There has to be more of active listening. You're just not sitting there and listening to the other person. A lot of people are just engrossed on their phones and the other partner is talking. So you have to make time for that, and most of the people don't find that time, unfortunately, because of the work, because of the kind of social setting they are in or something else.
And generally men come and thinking, I have come now, I come home, I need to relax. But that's not the case with the women. There also the problem of a relationship is there. Then sometimes, men who want to control, you will keep on telling women like this, you don't do anything wrong, correct, this is wrong with you. So, constantly if you keep on saying something, so she also starts doubting herself, is there something wrong with
So
you?
This
I
is
have a slightly different take on red flags.
Huh.
I think that extremes of human behavior are red flags, like narcissism, manipulation. That's what I would call red flags. We casually throw these words around that, oh, so she doesn't like this food, she's a red flag. That's jokingly, obviously. But I think it's become like very common to say that, okay, ye red flag hai, right? And I think ऐसे हम, if we start getting into the intricacies, सब में कुछ ना कुछ flaws हैं. Everybody will have flaws. So I feel like it's a little bit overdone. I would think of red flag as the classical, signs of narcissism, manipulation, or maybe somebody who's like overly enmeshed with one of their family members. Things like that, rather than, like value differences or incompatibility being termed as red flag.
But one thing also I noticed that early on we were told that this is a relationship, now you are in it till the rest of your life. Now because there are exit routes, and also because I think the attention span for relationship is also much less. Is it that we run out of patience? Early on when we would not red flag everything, here we are very quick to find the exit route.
I think that also comes from the fact that the environment has become such that we are more acceptable. So it has both the sides, that you're
Okay.
going to endure it. You should endure something which is positive for you, not an abusive relationship where you have to stay because you have to stay in it.
Correct, huh?
So I do feel that it has both positives and negatives, that people are not enduring enough. But yes, definitely the patience level has come down. So they are not able to, even if they can endure it, they find other reasons to sort of get out of it, or find something to say that, okay, this is it and I'm done.
So do you find that generation gap with your daughters?
Interestingly, no. No. Sometimes when they get their friends, she says, you talk to them more. Please, you talk to them 5 minutes, say hello and come, give us space to talk to. So, but like she was saying, like now why coming out of the relationship is easy, also because of the women's financial independence.
Yes.
Earlier, they were dependent on men for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they are earning, so they can think of it. Earlier, they cannot think of it. So this is also one of the reasons.
No, fair enough. In fact, they can think about it now. They feel that marriage, and also because people are more acceptance for single women.
Single women also.
Society has also
So,
opened
yeah,
up a lot.
yeah.
But the role the digital media plays in also, because now that there are dating apps, there are options in terms of choices.
So Tinder and Bumble have changed the way we date. In fact, a lot of sociologists actually attribute the rise of situationships to the Tinder and Bumble era, right? There is as much of a correlation there, right? It has definitely improved availability. And it's not like in and of itself, it's created certain behaviors that did not exist, but it has actually encouraged it in a way by making choices more available. So it's like a problem of plenty. You think that you'll always have somebody or the other, in life. And that's problematic, because what you don't realize is that even though you have more choices, you would rather spend more time and invest in one person over like find many options.
So choice is a problem, because it gives you, early on we were, the choice was limited. It was, now because there's so much choice and you just swipe, you don't even have to get out of your room. You swipe left and right and you reject or accept a person.
So I think that too much of choices of everything
Is bad.
is creating a problem.
But has that also, are people willing to work less in a relationship?
So that depends on what kind of investment they have in the relationship. For sure, there are certain people, I can't generalize by saying that overall people are wanting to work less. There are people definitely who will put in the effort. But like she said, that problem of plenty, so they know that they have options, and that the intention probably reduces slightly to put the work in the relationship. But I won't say that the intention is not there. That intention is there. But a lot of people do come to us with the problem of that they are on dating apps and they're talking to multiple people, and how much it sort of plays on their mind and takes their space in their mind, and that causes so much stress to them instead of giving them the kind of happiness they are seeking by being there.
And also, you're not being yourself. A, to you have multiple relationships, so you're multitasking. B, on a social media, you're always being
I
more
like the way she says
than what you are.
multitasking.
That is also a problem, na? The pressure of living up to the profile that you created.
It is. It is. In fact, they are consultants now that actually help you build your profile.
Well done,
What,
really.
what, yeah. What are the things that you're going to have? What kind of photos are you going to have? So there is obviously, and then a lot of us actually are rejection sensitive. So like we have a fear of disappointing people. Like what if I build a profile and then it doesn't match up and I don't get a second date, like things like that. So a lot of people are like very anxious, and a lot of people in fact start, hitting the gym, focus more on their appearance after they join dating apps.
So that's good.
Yeah,
Actually.
I mean, I would say that,
So
yeah.
yes, I can say now these people are creating a bubble.
Huh.
And trying to live in the bubble instead
point.
of being
It's a
in
very
the
well curated
reality.
kind of a life.
Very well
Yeah,
said.
that's true.
It is a bubble which is not, and the problem in bubbles, they burst easily
Yeah,
also.
yeah. So now that brings us to a point. That is why now the problems in a relationship and everything is problem.
That's actually very correct, because today's problems are more because we are also living, trying to
In
live
an
a life
illusion.
that is an illusion. That is correct. But on that note, thank you so much for this conversation, and thank you for watching this show. We'll be back again next week with another show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.